Okay.
Suppose I can turn my camera on. Turn my...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You should be able to still have people in there.
Tilt it down.
I gotta get you guys in it.
Just be like-
There you go.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Our apologies for the people watching on YouTube. Our camera is not functioning this evening for some reason. We're unable to troubleshoot it, so we'll be broadcasting with audio tonight. I'll call the meeting to order. Would everyone stand for the pledge of the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Peter, would you do the roll call, please?
Councilman Coleman,
Here.
Councilman Fata,
Here.
Councilwoman Allen, here, Councilwoman Souza, here, and Supervisor Bailey.
Here. Our first order of business tonight, we have two public hearings for two local laws, Local Law 10 and Local Law 11. They're both for the same topic. However, one is to establish a Board of Ambulance Commissioners for the Rochester Ambulance District. That district is our recently formed one that will be serviced by Kerhonkson-Accord First Aid Squad. The second will be a local law number 11, establishing a Board of Ambulance Commissioners for the High Falls Ambulance District, which is the area of High Falls that will be serviced by Marbletown First Aid Unit. For the people wondering why those names, the Kerhonkson-Accord First Aid Squad was 3 characters too long to be allowed under the real property service, so we renamed it Rochester. And the Marbletown Ambulance District, as we were calling the other one, was already taken by the town of Marbletown. And we couldn't have 2 ambulance districts in the same county with the same name. So that is why the names Rochester and High Falls. So I will open the public hearing for local law number 10, the Board of Ambulance Commissioners. For a quick description of that for the people. Local Law 10 for Rochester, the district board will act as an advisory board to the town board regarding ministerial functions related to the operation of the Rochester Ambulance District. The District Board of Ambulance Commissioners shall consist of 5 people. They will be for 3-year terms. However, at the first establishment, there will be 2 one-year members, 2 two-year members, and 1 3-year member. And then as each member's term expires, they will be renewed as a 3-year. The reason we do this is so all 5 members don't, their term doesn't lapse at the same time. As I said, their purpose is to advise the town board on the budget that is funded by the taxing district. So with that, I'll ask if there's anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this.
Can I ask a procedural question?
Yes.
Since these are more or less identical, can we assume that if comments are made about one, if the person speaking can say this applies to both?
They can, if they want to. We still have to legally have two separate public hearings.
Yeah.
But, anyone can address it however they choose to. So if they want to say my comments apply to both, we can consider them for both, so. So with that, anyone wish to speak from the public?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Joe Biddy, I'm with Marvel State, and I just want to visualize and the board for taking this action. I think it's wise to have a dedicated group to some significant new tax revenue, right? And so it makes quite a lot of sense to have an independent liaison that can serve as a bridge between the ambulance flags and the board and help with communication. It's a little bit different just background wise so that folks can understand, have a grasp of what Marbletown has done with us. So there is a board of commissioners as well, which has been a little challenging for them to fill. But they additionally actually had asked for a board seat on our agency. A little bit different structure. And what I found from talking to a lot of different agencies is every single agency's got like kind of a different path. So, that I think the way these things have evolved has as much to do with the personalities involved and boards and relationships as anything. What I would suggest is that everyone works really hard to have close working relationships, understand that our goals are the same, or should be, which is to get ambulances to people, sick and injured people, and get them to the hospital as quick and efficient as possible. That's the goal. And my own personal take as well is, with some experience with this stuff, is that having a duty crew in the building should be the goal 24/7. What we found from the community in Marbletown, there was a lot of concern about the pressure that the tax dollars creates, right? And what we found, the board was very concerned about this through the process, and in the end, the community was overwhelmingly supportive of that model, of knowing that there's a pair of qualified people in the building with the ambulance ready to go 24/7. So I would just encourage everyone kind of across the board to be focused on that and to be making that the goal. So that's it.
Can I comment on the 24/7 at the building?
Yeah.
24/7 is great. But what about that backup call? We get them all the time. And, we can't put two crews on. How it used to work was usually, everybody helped one another. This staffing 24 hours a day is pushing the volunteers right out. And nobody should.
actually, Joe, it's not a back and forth, so let's let him speak.
Nobody should be left unattended to. Missing one call is not acceptable. Because that one person is injured or sick. If we don't get to them, Marbletown, Crockton, Elville, we look bad in their eyes because we don't get out. But I think we need to go back to mutually where everybody works together.
Is there anyone else from the public? Yes, Ms. Avery.
Since Marbletown does already have them, and we're not giving them a huge amount of money, is it imperative that we have two board commissioners for the Marbletown district? Can't they just kind of give us a quarterly report from their commissioners to oversee that little bit of money that we're giving them. Because it seems to me that if we're gonna have two boards for the same group of people with the amount of funding, it would make more sense to let them go over and run their squad their way, run their money their way, and leave us just have quarterly reports instead of confusion between two boards overseeing that little bit of money. It's not like it's a huge amount of money.
Understood. Let me see if there's any more comments and then I'll answer, because there's a legal reason why we can't. So, is there anyone else wish to speak?
On that note, could you appoint, I'm guessing maybe they have 5 members. Could the town appoint 2 members, which is an odd number from the town of Rochester, if they would accept that on Marlborough? That's my comment from Marlborough.
Let me see if there's any, okay, sorry.
For Carhonson. Firstly, what I want to know is why is this set up so differently from the fire company? It's all taxpayer dollars. Why is this not going to referendum, and why do we not vote on these commissioners the same public? When does the public not vote on these commissioners the same as the fire company? Why is it going through the town board?
Let me take all the comments and then I'll
Alright,
answer all these
that-
questions. Yeah,
And,
there are answers to both that I will give tonight, so.
okay, because if the taxpayers are paying, they should be saying who they want on their board. Because it's my strong belief, and I say this with all the agents, oh, can't do that. I say this elsewhere because I'm representing myself as a taxpayer. I don't want to be misconstrued as representing anything else. He who does the paying does the saying, and the taxpayers do the paying for this, and they should have the right to choose the commission.
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Okay, let me see, online, Ms. Anderson, would you like to speak?
Yes. The public, so this is I understand this to be the compliance issue, that when we form an ambulance improvement district, we form it under municipal law, and the towns must comply with the New York State Controller and appoint the advisory boards. This is very different than fire districts, which form under fire law, they're sovereign. They decide their budgets. They implement their budgets. The towns have no say whatsoever. This is an improvement district. So it draws, the way that it works and its authorities are drawn from a different source code, a law code, fire law versus improvement district municipal law. Town of Marbletown appointed a tax advisory board. They call it tax advisory board. It doesn't run the Marbletown first aid unit at all. And neither would this board that's being appointed by the town. It would not run the Cohonson Accord First Aid Squad. KFAS, the First Aid Squad, is its own business. The object of a tax advisory board is to review the budget, look for compliance with the contract, whatever contract is set up between the town and the vendor. It's not running the business of ambulance. And so when we use this word commissioner, people are familiar in the public with what a commissioner is in the fire department. This is very different in a tax advisory or improvement district in the advisory board. So it's one of these intricacies of municipal law that's a little difficult for the public to understand because they don't see it too often. And appointing this advisory board is a very good way to watch the taxpayer dollars, and that's its purpose. Thank you.
Okay, see, we have one more online person, Mr. Maloney. Do you wish to speak? You can unmute yourself if you wish to. Okay. Are there any more comments from the public? Okay.
Ms. Anderson, are you counseling?
No, she's a member of the public.
I
Here to speak. No,
Very nice. that she took the things that she did with-
she's been very involved with the Marbletown First Aid Unit in the formation of their district.
That was my own.
Yep. If there's no more comments, I will address the questions. So as Ms. Anderson said, fire districts under New York state law are their independent agency. The town has no oversight over them. The fire district, the Accord Fire District, the Cohasset Fire District, they are independent government agencies formed under New York state law. They are their own taxing district. They create their budget. They supply it to the town because the town, for convenience, collects at tax time, we collect town tax, county tax, fire taxes, and any special improvement district taxes. What Ms. Anderson said is 100% correct. There is no mechanism in New York state law currently to create a separate district for EMS, only for fire. That is the problem. That is why KPAS or Marbletown First Aid can't say, we want to be an independent government agency, we'll create our own budget. Then that would be like other fire districts that have overarching taxing districts that may cross boundary lines. In Rochester's case, Accord is fully located within the town of Rochester. We're a very unique situation. So the short answer is, it's not allowed by the law under New York State. So the only way to create this is, it is considered an improvement district, no different than a sewer district, a water district, a lighting district. So in this case, it is a district formed by the town, who then issues a contract for services. In this case, we have already decided we are going with Cohasset Accord First Aid and Marbletown First Aid, because those are the areas that they cover. They then provide the town board and ask for the amount of money that they see that they will need for the upcoming tax year. The town then, that's part of the town budget. And as you may remember from the budget public hearing, we had to include those funds in our overall tax levy, which made us exceed the tax cap for this year. And the reason being is, it is a town tax. It's just an improvement district that is billed to the people that are in that jurisdiction. Yes.
The town board does not have to fulfill the ask. They still have the say over what that amount, the total amount would be.
A request
I'm
is-
asking you, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So a request is filed to the town for X number of dollars. The town, in their creation of the budget, can establish what that amount is. That in this case, for both squads who have asked for the money earlier over the summer, while we were establishing these districts, we had to present, you'll remember in the report, the average cost to an average house. We used the numbers that they provided, the 175,000 and the 15,500. So the short answer is, that's how it exists. Now, there is no requirement that there be a board of commissioners, a go-between, but most independent, not independent, but most ambulance districts in my research of New York State form this. That group is only responsible for the financial end, as Ms. Anderson said. They don't tell, they're not a part of the agency. They're not, they have no oversight over the agency. They're essentially a go-between. They work with the agency to develop the budget, bring it to the town board. It's like if you had a water district and you had a board of water commissioners for that district, which many water districts do. Because with this improvement district, it is not a pay by use. With a water district, you have a water meter, you pay so much for your water based on usage. Obviously, with an ambulance district, we're not paying by use. We're paying them to be responsive for an area for the town of Rochester. So because of that, it is funded through the town, and the town has the oversight over that. This commission or advisors, however we end up calling it, and I take the point very seriously. What Marbletown did is called it a tax advisory group, and maybe that's a better name. This name was copied from what I believe we borrowed this from Stony Point, who has a similar situation. The question about the commissioners or the people on the board, they are representing the town board. It's not in this situation. So that the appointment is based, and we're going to do it just like we do the planning board, the board of, any other volunteer board. There's no pay involved. They have no power over either side. They're simply, they are a subsidiary of the town board who will work with board of directors for the 2 ambulance squads to develop next year's ask, meaning 2024, because 2023 is already established. So that's why we're working on this. So let me finish answering the explaining now. So in answer to your question, they must be residents of our town. So Marbletown's board is set up with 3 residents of Marbletown. We can't use them. What we are currently planning, we're not expecting that we're going to get 10 people, 5 for each district. What we're planning on is getting 5 people, having one board. The same 5 people will serve both districts, at least for the moment. But we must, because it's 2 separate districts, we must create 2 advisory boards. They can be the same people. So, yes, Ms. Avery, you had a question.
Now, in the future, now I'm looking at the future, because we discussed this back when I was a member, but there is this possibility that in the future, the squads are all going to be paid. Volunteers are a thing of the past anymore. We all know that. What's going to happen with this board of commissioners or tax advisory group when the squad comes to you and says, we're closing our doors, we can't be a volunteer situation?
So
Then the board of commissioners will be voted on and it will all change totally then, right?
no, because EMS under New York State is not like fire districts. So if New York changes their laws, and I will tell you, there is discussion in the state right now, as well as discussion in the county. We're not the only town that's facing this issue. Both agencies are serving as vendors for the town. The town could go to another agency. We're going to the 2 that currently serve it right now because that makes the most sense. We could contract with a Mobile Life. We could, and this is just an example, I'm not saying we will. We could contract with Mobile Life. We could contract with Ellenville First Aid. We're doing it the way we're doing it right now because those are the 2 groups that are servicing the town, and we want to see them continue. And the funding got to the level of need that the only way we could do it was through this tax. This is a year-to-year thing. Each year, this district has to be not re-voted on by the board, but just like the board created the district, the board can dissolve a district at any time as well. If down the road we end up with all paid and then there's no need for this, then we just dissolve the district. For right now, this is for 1 year.
Or if the county or the state comes up with a more elegant solution.
Correct. And I expect that the county or the state, well, the state first, will come up with some sort of solution out of it. They have a task force that's meeting right now. Their report is due back to the state Assembly and Senate in January. There's a member from Ulster County who is sitting on it, who has also been advising the Ulster County task force that was created, that I've been attending those meetings as a representative of the supervisors. Myself and Supervisor Walsh from Rosendale have been attending those meetings. And we're hearing reports of where they're headed. So we don't know what their final report is going to say or do, but then the state legislature could enact legislation that allows ambulances to be their own agency and taxed just like the fire districts. And then the town would no longer be involved, and this would just be dissolved.
I just want to point out that paid, volunteer, whatever, that doesn't change the structure of the improvement district, if that's a tax district. It can be used to fund an all volunteer agency if the town wants to set it up that way, or it's used an all paid agency. We said that the town could also contract with just a true commercial. I think that both towns are very wise to support these legacy organizations. As long as it makes sense fiscally, and which, oh, by the way, it does. It really does. So there you go. I'm really proud of our heritage as well. 60 years. Some very important aspects, the community building aspects of our organization.
For clarification too, there are some towns that have contracts with fully paid. Saugerties is that way. Saugerties budget for EMS is close to $1 million, I believe, because they have a contract with Diaz, who staffs 3 units 24/7, ready to respond. I believe that that's what it is. Joe, you may know better than I, but
It's overly done, and their call volume is.
yeah, their call volume is considerably higher. Town of Lloyd has a contract. Town of Lloyd happens to have a nursing home in their community, and that adds to the volume of calls, but it also adds to the volume of insurance payments, because insurance pays for all those transports. So they are in a unique situation that an awful lot of their transports are paid for by insurance. We are on the opposite side of the spectrum. I'm sorry?
Siri wanted to chime in.
Okay. On the, I apologize, I lost my train of thought. I was saying, about Town of Lloyd. Rochester and Marbletown are on the opposite side of the spectrum in that we have a lot of insurance coverages that are paid for by Medicare and Medicaid, which pay very minimally on the dollar in reimbursement. So, excuse me, how much?
So if we bill for $1,000.
Yeah, so they pay 25% of what the cost would be. That is the sort of short answer of the reason of why this is being done the way it is. There's probably less than 20 examples out there in the state of this type of thing. Although when researching this, I found at least 5 or 6 other communities that in 2022 were in the process of doing the exact same thing as we were. And I'm betting that in the near future, we're going to see an awful lot more communities going that direction. So this is to try to keep the 2 squads that service us functioning as best they can, keep them funded so they can keep their doors open. It's to recognize the combination of the volunteers and the paid staff, and we leave it to their boards to decide how and when to spend the money, how to utilize it. Ours is just to review what the ask is and make sure that it's a good, essentially it's taxpayer money that we're responsible for. So we have to make sure it's for a valid use. Any more comments? Okay. If not, and just check one more time, Mr. Maloney, do you wish to comment? Okay. So with that, I'll ask the motion to close the public hearing for local law 10.
Make that motion. I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, next I will open up the public hearing for local law 11. This is the exact same with the difference being it is for the High Falls Board of Ambulance District Commissioners. Are there any comments on this one? Okay. I'm going to assume that basically the dialogue that we had on the last one continues the similar comments. Ms. Anderson, do you have anything you wish to say on this one in particular?
No, you're doing just fine.
Okay, thank you. So if there's no more comments, then I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing for local law 11.
Make that motion.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we are closing the public hearing portion of the meeting. We'll be ending that. We'll be starting with the regular meeting, which will be on a different YouTube link. If you look on the agenda, you'll see the link for that for the regular meeting. Unless the board wants to just continue it here, we can.
Well, I think.
We've advertised the other ones.
We advertised their public.
Oh, that's right. Yes, so we do have.